Okay, for the Skin MD system, we have the 4-in-1 and the 5-in-1. Assembly is the same. In the back of the machine, you will have to attach your acrylic holder. You have two parts of the acrylic holder, one to hold your skin scrubber that will be attached to your acrylic holder. That acrylic holder is then attached to your machine. This is done by pre-drilled screws that are provided. Once you have your machine together, you have a main power outlet on the back, and once you turn that on or off, it will turn all functions on and off of the machine. When assembling each piece, you have it labeled accordingly. For ultrasound technology, it is just a simple plug-in. You have your plug-in for your ground with your skin scrubber galvanic. And then for each other function, you have a prong system. On each cord, it will indicate the top of the cord. This is important so that you do not bend the prongs inside each piece. Take your time and make sure that each one is in snug. For these two, you have a bolt-on system. Once you plug it in, you will take the time to thread it and make sure that it is tight at all times. For your microdermabrasion, you have a cord system that simply just goes on to your machine. Take the time to line up and push it in all the way. Each cord should follow to the back and will have holes and spots for each piece of equipment. Our first facial is going to be our microdermabrasion using ultrasound therapy. We will be adding cold technology with our hot and cold hammer. First, we're going to start by cleansing the skin. Cleansing the skin in microdermabrasion is your most important task. Take the time to do a superficial cleanse, a deep cleanse, remove eye and lip makeup, and tone the skin. For our microdermabrasion, we like to use our micellar cleansing water. This will remove all impurities without using water. This allows for a clean, dry skin preparation for our microdermabrasion. We use this by applying a generous amount to a 4x4 gauze and gently exfoliate the skin in circular motion. As you can see, although we did not use any water, it does remove the impurities from the skin. To remove our eye and lip makeup, we are using the Diego de la Palma Eye and Lip Makeup Removing Oil. Although the micellar cleansing water doesn't normally require toning, we are going to tone the skin to ensure that all oils and impurities have been removed. I'm just taking a regular tissue and blotting the skin to ensure its dryness. At this time, you would perform your skin analysis and go over your client consultation form. We will review the history and ask verbally the 3 most important contraindications for machines, which is pregnancy, epilepsy, and pacemaker. For the microdermabrasion treatment, it's very important that you don't come in contact with any wetness on the skin. However, for the client's comfort, we will protect their eyes from the light. When doing the skin analysis, you are looking for imperfections that will be treated by microdermabrasion. You want to be sure that you are noting any open lesions or dysfunctions on the skin. We will perform a test patch of about 2 by 2 either on the forehead area or behind the ear to ensure that your client is not reactive to the treatment. Your dermabrasion machine comes with multiple abrasive pads, multiple filters, and multiple wands. For each client, you must use a separate wand and ensure that these parts are cleaned between every client. When choosing your abrasion, you want to keep in mind the client's skin type. There is a guide for areas of the body and face, and on each abrasion there is a number on the side. This number will indicate the abrasiveness of the grit. The higher the number, the less abrasive the grit. The lower the number, the more abrasive the grit. For today's treatment, I'm using a grit of 120. I have my clean tip and I've inserted my cotton filter. I will line that up with my wand and connect the two together. Keep in mind that you have a black washer. If at any time this washer is damaged, you will need to replace it. Your machine comes with extra washers and they can be reordered at any time. Once it is snugly on, you usually do not see the washer. This is okay. You're going to insert it into the tip of your hose, taking the time to make sure it is very snug. Once your machine is turned on from your back power, you are going to turn it on from your front power as well. You want to select diamond dermabrasion, and this will activate the compressor in the machine. Your gauge for your diamond dermabrasion is on the far left or on the far right if you're facing your machine. To adjust your suction, you have a dial. You want to start off with a low suction and continue to increase it to ensure that you have an easy glide over the skin. You should never see pigment showing, as well as you have to have enough suction to ensure that you are keeping a full 90-degree contact with the skin at all times. For our test patch, we will put a two-way stretch on our skin. Make contact and glide across the skin in a slow motion. If you do not have enough suction, you could scratch the skin. If you have too much suction, you can pigment the skin. It is important that you take your time and adjust your settings according to the skin type you are working on. Once you have completed a 2-inch patch, you will shut off your machine and wait for about 60 seconds to 2 minutes to ensure that there is no discoloration or swelling on the skin. If you see any bumpy skin, any excessive flakiness, this could be an indication that your client is not eligible for diamond dermabrasion. You will need to stop your treatment, reassess, and choose another treatment best suited for their skin type. Once you have done your test patch and you're good to go, you can start working your way from the forehead to the chin in a linear sweep from the center out. Never go from out to the center, as this is against the lymph. If at any time you lose suction, lift your wand and replace it so that you have proper contact with the skin. Never perform microdermabrasion inside the bony circle of the eye, also known as the occipital bone. When going over the nose, you may choose to do this at the last step and change your tip depending on the surface area that you have. You may go over the neck and décolleté as long as you ensure that you have a two-way stretch. Because the client has a jugular here and pushing a two-way stretch on that area can be uncomfortable, I recommend that you put one full hand on the collarbone to keep the stretch. You may need to adjust your section as this is a more delicate area. After you finish the side of the face, you will continue on the opposing side. Covering the entire face is known as the first phase. I do notice that she has a superficial scar, enlarged pores in her T-zone, and slight pigmentation. For our scar, we are going to do a small grid pattern. You may choose to increase your section if your client is not showing any redness at this time. we are going to do a two-way stretch on the skin and do linear sweeping in one direction and then the opposite direction. Again, at this time, you may choose to change your tip depending on the area that is being treated. For enlarged pores or superficial wrinkles, we will erase them. So this is linear sweeping continuously up to 3 times. Having a two-way stretch on the skin, you will make contact and go back and forth up to 3 times. For fine lines and wrinkles, you want to go with the direction of the wrinkle. For cross wrinkling, you can choose to do the grid pattern or eraser. For pigment, we are going to do a circular pattern. You will start in the center of the pigment and move out, or go from the outside of the pigment and move in. Whatever is most comfortable for you and the client. Keep a two-way stretch on the skin, make contact, and rotate in a circular motion. If at any time you lose suction, allow your tip to glide off of the skin. If you lift it off of the skin, you can cause pigmentation. Some people will have a large area of damaged skin on their cheek or forehead. At this time, you can choose to use a grid pattern so that you're covering a larger surface at one time. When you're doing your second phase, it is normal for your client to experience a little bit of pinking or reddening of the skin. As long as you're not seeing any liquid substance, okay, it is okay to continue. After your second phase, you may choose to do a third phase. This is going to be the same as your first phase over your entire face. It is recommended for clients who are not showing excessive redness or any other contraindication to continue the treatment. At this time, if your client has a thick, healthy skin, you may choose to increase your suction and have a bit more of a treatment. However, if the skin is responding well to the settings that you've chosen before, go ahead and continue with those settings. Once we've completed the dermabrasion phase, we are going to attempt to calm the skin. We're going to do this by using our anti-redness Cuprose concentrate. We will apply a small amount to the skin. And then prepare for our ultrasound technology. When doing dermabrasion, it is important that we do not stimulate the skin manually. Therefore, we use ultrasound technology in place of our massage. You have two heads for your ultrasound technology. You have your face and you have your eye. On your machine, you're going to choose your Ultra button, which is for your ultrasound. Then you're going to power your ultrasound, which is on the far right side or the far left side if you are facing the machine. To select your intensity, you're going to choose up or down, and you have a low consistency of 0.2 all the way up to 1.8. The number that goes on after is your timer. If at any time this goes to 0, you must power down your ultrasound and reselect your options. This will reset the timer. You have two wavelengths. You have a pulsing or a constant wavelength. Once you've chosen the settings appropriate to the skin type, you would hit the Ultra Start button. Okay. Because this technology requires a conductor, you're going to use any water-based medium or an ultrasound gel. If you choose to use an ultrasound gel that is generic, it is important to remove this before putting the mask on the skin. For your eye area, you can choose to use one of our 4-step systems, and today we're going to use the eye draining mask. For our jelly, I'm using the Silhouette Tone Vitamin A, C, and E gel. This gel has additional amino acids and proteins in it and can be left on the skin before putting on your mask. When doing ultrasound, it is very important to avoid the thyroid area. This is the area underneath the shin, right on the neck, also near the Adam's apple. For ultrasound, you're going to place your probe on the skin and slowly massage, following the muscles of the skin. If at any time you have any drag in the skin, which will be indicated by the skin folding, you want to make sure that you add more ultrasound jelly or even water to thin out the jelly. You want to make sure that you have a smooth glide on the skin at all times. Be sure to never hold your probe in one area. This treatment can be done continually for 15 to 20 minutes, depending on the time that you have. Once you've completed the time on the facial probe, go ahead and change the eye probe. You may adjust your settings according to what you're trying to achieve, but note that once you press start on your ultrasound machine, this will activate both your face probe and your eye probe. Like our diamond dermabrasion, it is important to stay on the bony area around the eye. ultrasound, we will apply our astringent soothing mask. If you are doing our anti-aging protocol, you may apply the massage mask as well. You now allow this to sit for 20 minutes. After your mask has set, we're going to go ahead and remove it. We are now going to apply our concentrated ceramide. This is going to be before our finishing cream. It is important to use ceramides to re-nourish the skin after your diamond dermabrasion. We are now going to use our cold hammer to soothe our skin so that our client leaves with a nice glowing skin rather than any redness. We will select our hot and cold hammer, and then we will turn our machine on the handle. You will hear a fan, and it is important at all times to not cover any of the ventilation. This hammer has a mechanism in it similar to a blow dryer, and if that is blown, the hammer would need to be replaced. You have two sides that are indicated, hot and cold. Your hot goes to 42 degrees and your cold goes to 0. Your heat would be used to relax the pore and your cold is going to be used to restrict. It's also good for soothing, like we're using right now. Because of the degree that it does have, it is important that you never hold this on the skin in one spot. Also, because of the fan inside, it is important that you never use this for more than 15 minutes at one time. To complete the treatment today, we will apply our finishing cream. I am choosing the finishing cream from our moisture line to ensure that I'm returning as much moisture to the skin as possible. You will need to advise your client to reapply their moisturizer several times a day if they're experiencing any dryness or itchiness. I will now apply our eye and lip serum with our Diego de la Palma. And finish with the intensive eye and lip cream. We are going to use our galvanic skin scrubber in the cleansing part of our facial. For the galvanic skin scrubber, you have two probes, your scrubber and your ground. Your ground is to be held by your client. Take a gauze and stretch it out. Ensure that the gauze is damp and wrap it around the probe that you will give to your client. By applying a damp gauze, this will ensure conductivity and that there is no break in your current causing a shock. Ask your client to hold this in your hand. Select your skin scrubber function on your machine. Ensure that you have time, which is indicated here. Your time will be increased by 5 minutes, and you can go up to 20 minutes for your skin scrubber function. You can choose for a constant current or a pulsing current. Your intensity will not be chosen until you make contact with your client. You want to ensure that they're feeling a light tingling sensation, but that it is not overbearing or that their skin is not showing any signs of oversensitivity. The conduction that you're going to use in this treatment is going to be your soap and water. We are using our water-based deep cleansing gel. To ensure that we have conductivity at all times, we have put water next to our client or close by so that we can reapply it if needed. Create a bit of a lather on the skin with your cleanser. Once you have lathered the skin with your cleanser and water, Make a 45-degree contact with the skin. You're going to ask the client if they feel. Is that okay? Okay. If they are feeling it and you're seeing the reaction, leave it at the lowest setting. If they are not feeling it, increase the settings until they do. If at any time the skin is dry, you want to make sure that you're re-wetting it. This is very important to create conductivity . For the nose area, you can follow down . As well, going in the side of the nose for clogged pores and blackheads. You can repeat this up to 3 times over the entire face. When performing the phototherapy, we're going to be using our probe. Our probe will have our lights as well as our microcurrent. It is important not to press it on the skin at any time because this can cause dimpling in the skin. To choose our settings, we're going to choose phototherapy, which will turn on our lights. In the center here, under the skin scrubber label, it'll have a label that says color adjust. These are the buttons that will control our phototherapy. To choose our light, you can choose up or down. For red light, this is going to be your strongest light for anti-aging. Our green light is going to be for pigmentation. Our blue light is going to be to kill P. acne bacteria and can be used on sensitive to normal skins. Our yellow light is going to be for devitalization. Our purple light or magenta light is going to be to increase circulation and have relaxation for the muscles of the skin. And our light blue light is going to be for our ultra-sensitive skins. You can also choose a multi-color function for your normal skins. Once you've chosen your light, you're going to choose a constant or a faradic current. This is going to give a blinking to your light. You also have 4 different speeds for the blinking of your light, and they are chosen by hitting your frequency button. Once you have chosen the settings appropriate to the skin type you are working on, ensure that your client has eye protection and you may hold the probe on the areas of the skin for 1 to 2 minutes. The biggest contraindication for LED therapy is epilepsy. You may choose to use more than one light. And you may also choose to change the speed. You would perform this function for 15 to 20 minutes depending on the time that you had.